Hello, and this is Dominique with Watch Me Work here. Today I'll be doing what we call a pronto quick weave. As you can see, my model is natural, and I've colored a portion of her hair to match the hair that I'm going to put in. So what you want to do to start it off is you want to part out where you want your client's part to be for her pronto. Like I said again, which is another name for a quick weave. And you want to make the parting about 1 or 2 inches wide, depending on the thickness of the client's hair. I want a deeper side part. So there goes the part. Then you want to leave out about 1 to 1.5 inches of what you would call the edge area. So you can clip or you can braid this section out the way. I'm going to just do a quick braid out the way. Nothing special, just a regular braid. As I said, I previously colored a portion of her hair. To match what I'm going to leave out. So now what you want to do is you want to part out a small parting all the way around the part, the leave out that you just sectioned out, all the way around the perimeter of her head. In the back, you want to leave a little more hair out, and you'll see why. Alright. And you want to take that hair, what's left, just clip it out of the way. Now what you want to do is you want to start about 1 inch back from what the section you left out, and you want to braid what you just parted out. So I'm going to finish braiding, and then I'll be back with the next step. Alright, so I've braided the whole perimeter. As you can see, the hair I left out, I pulled up into the braid. Now what you want to do is braid the center. These don't have to be small braids at all. This is a good mode for people who have very long hair. and the braids don't have to be super small at all. This is just another quick method so your client with long hair doesn't have to sit under the dryer all day. Alright. So you start with this corner over here. And you want to braid it as tight and close as you can. So as you can see, I finished braiding. It's nothing spectacular. You just have to braid the hair out the way. This is not a sew-in. So as I finish braiding, I'll come back to you with the next step. Next, what you want to do is you want to take the loose braid and a needle and thread, and you want to sew the braid down. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to mold the hair down. As you can see, it's nothing spectacular at all. Then you take it under the braid and put it. You can either let it hang or just stick it in the braid. Now that you braided your client down and you sewn the excess braid down, you want to take wrapping strips and place them over your client's head, asking your client to hold them down as you put them on. And this is just a protective shield from the glue. Make sure that you cover the head as much as you can. And then your last one you could take and you could tie it. Now what you want to do is you want to place a stocking cap over the papers, and you can ask your client to let go. So as you can see, her full head is covered. May look crazy, but you always want to protect your client's hair. Now what you want to do is the excess needle that you had, you're going to take and bring it through the stocking cap And that very first braid that you braided around the perimeter of their head, you should be able to feel it. You're going to take and you're going to sew the stocking cap down. Not the leave out, which would be your very first braid, but the second braid that starts the perimeter braid. And all you have to do is feel for it. And you take it. And you sew the stocking cap down. No special sewing technique is required. You just want to braid it down. I sewed the cap down. So, as I sew around the perimeter, I'll come back to you and show you the next step. So now I've finished sewing the stocking cap all the way around the perimeter of her head. What you want to do is cut all the excess stocking cap and paper off. Being careful not to actually cut her hair or the thread. So once I finish cutting this off, as I'm doing now, I'll come back to you with the next step. So now the stocking cap is cut completely off. The excess. Now what you want to do is start laying your tracks. Now because this is a bob, you always want your last track to lay flat. So, you know there's a braid right there at the back of the head, so you measure out your first track. And you glue it. This goes back to what I was saying at the beginning when I wanted you to leave the excess, a little more hair in the back, so that when you place your first track for your bob, you still have enough room to cut and have a good clean cut at the back of your bob, and it lays flat. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply all her tracks. Alright, so I've added all the hair in. Now what you want to do is you want to take down the braid from the natural hair. And you want to go through the blending process. So what I like to do is I like to start at the back of the part. Spray a light aerosol hairspray. Light spray of oil sheen. And you take it, and without burning the client, you press out their hair. Then you take your flat irons and you go over the leave out. Just like that. Then what you want to do is you want to go to one side of the leave out. You take a small portion of that. Same thing. Hairspray. Light spray of oil sheen. You press the hair out. It's more so when you use your marsupials, it's just to get the root straight, and you straighten the rest of the hair out with the flat irons. Making sure you get your good clean part. So as I finish the blending of her hair, now that you flat ironed out the hair, you want to spray light hairspray, a light mist of oil sheen, and you want to take a paddle brush and blend the hair in good. So now that I finished flat ironing the hair out, now what you want to do, you want to take another light spray of oil sheen and hairspray and your big paddle brush, and you want to brush the hair into the extensions. So you get a nice even blend. And as we all know, with any kind of weave, sometimes you get the strings. All you got to do is just cut them out. No big deal. Or sometimes you can just pull them out. So there you have that portion. So now that you've blended the hair, you're gonna start the cut.
But before the cut, let me tell you about the hair show in Chicago, April 13th. Man, we got the poppin' ponytail competition. We got the loctician competition. Man, we got the old school Marcel competition. We got the lace battle. We got the braid battle. We just added the finger wave battle. Check us out.
I like to start in the middle of the head, in the middle of the neck. And I start off with a small section. And I like to start right there at the nape of the head, and you start raising it down. And once you get to the neck, I like to hold the comb down and razor against the neck. And I'm curving the razor off the neck. And see how that leaves it laying flat? You take your next section and you do the same thing. Now what you do is you come straight parallel with the shoulders, which are cutting. You're gonna start coming down, then you take the hair and you go straight parallel with the shoulder. And you see how it gives you that automatic angle? So that's your one side of your bob. Just the base of the cut. Now this side we're going to make shorter. Same thing, taking the next section. Cutting on down. You're going to make this side shorter. Now you still want to follow the same rules, but this time, instead of going straight parallel with the shoulder, you're going to go straight parallel with her jawline. Which still gives you an angle, but it gives you a shorter angle and still goes right along with her face. See how the angle goes right along with her jawline? So that's your shorter side of the bob. So now you have the base of your cut. Now what you want to do is you want to layer the bob out. You want to take the hair And this, you can do it one of two ways. If you want a choppy, shorter bob, you could section out one section of the hair, and you could cut straight down. But I like the messy cut, so what I'm gonna do is, I already have my guide where I just cut. I'm gonna take my razor and I'm gonna go through and still follow that same guideline, which you can see because you're starting to cut into it. And chop it on around. You could take smaller sections if you want to. I'm just used to cutting this bob, and I always go back and I clean up my work, especially the cut if you want it to lay right. And as you can see, I'm still following the cut, and like I said, you can still go through and clean up any extra length that's not the same length. Now, when you are razor cutting, you are not going to have a straight blunt cut. That is the purpose of razoring, which me personally, I like that. It gives you a softer look and more mobility. Now when you get to the front, when your client's head down, you bring it back up, and there you have the short side. You follow the same thing with the longer side, but just following the same direction that you cut it in already. It's a very messy, very choppy bob. Or what you can do, you can take a section and bring it back and cut straight down. Same look, same cut, just a different way to cut it. you get to the bang area, you want to pull the hair straight up. And going with the natural hair, you want to basically cut going straight across. You bring it back up and bring it the opposite way, following natural hair, and you cut straight down. And as you can see, that layered it out. And you still keep your length. So now you have your razor cut asymmetrical bob. So now that you have the cut, it's time to start styling. What you want to do is you want to start at the very bottom. Be very careful. Lightly spread the bottom track with oil sheen, lightly. And a slight mist of spritz. You can either use your flat irons or your Marcells. I'm going to use my Marcells because they're smaller than my flat irons. And you're going to bump the bottom track so that it lays flat against the head. Now once you get to the corner over here, you want to bend it on around. Again, lightly spray with oil sheen. I like Mr. Spritz. You're gonna bump this going straight down. And when you get to the left corner, you're going to pull it straight around so that the hair curls forward. Not a bump so much, but you're just moving the hair in the direction you want it to lay. What? So as I continue to style, alright, so I'm going to finish styling the hair and I'll be back to you with the finished product. And this is the finished result.